Siegel on, man. LeBron just got me feeling so, man. I think I'm finna freestyle. It's been a while. You on the LeFleur Vision podcast, coming off the glass. Man, what you wanna do? Jay, LeBron, too? What? Can't forget Tyrese and Maxey. Man. Out of plan. What's going on, man? Welcome to another episode of the LeFleur Vision podcast. And yes, sir, I had to start with the Philly Beanie Siegel, mainly because, yes, the obvious. My boy LeBron has signed to Philly. And I like to toot my own horn a little bit because, I called it. If you tune back to the last episode, you'll see that I talked about his best option to win. And he must have heard me, him and Rich Paul must have heard me talking about it and was like, you know what? I think CJ knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Let's look at Philly and let's go ahead and saddle the troops up and we're going to head to Philly, man. You just like Freeway. But nah. But before we get into that, I want to first tell you guys I appreciate y'all tuning in. Anything that I drop, man, as far as this content goes, comment, subscribe, know what you're thinking about it. This is new, I'm saying, but I think I'm starting to like it a little bit. And I'm going to just be honest, I don't think nobody knows basketball more than me. I'm already naturally a know-it-all, but when it comes to this basketball, I really genuinely believe I know it all. There's nothing you can tell me about anything when it comes to basketball. You know what I mean? And I did it because I lived it. All that. You know what I mean? But but first and foremost, what we're gonna get into today, Russell Westbrook. We're gonna start there. I gotta be honest. I hate what's going on with him, but I just think that he's a changing of the times, the modern era of basketball. You look at how his career started and how it went since then. Even his time in Houston was decent, but I just think that when it comes to Russell Westbrook, he just never adjusted his game. I feel like he just was always 100 miles per hour straight to the rim. And what I've noticed about the game of basketball as it relates to 2026 is that this new breed of players are intelligent. It's not just 6'8" wingspan, Kawhi Leonard-sized hands. It's a lot more strategy behind each particular player and what they bring to the game, to the starting five. Let's just say, bring to the court. Let's just say, even no-name bench players, they have this intelligence to the way that they play. And if I could be honest, I just think that if you're not adjusting or if you're not changing with the times, a lot of free agents, but Russell Westbrook specifically, you will be left behind. There's no reason why him, even as, I hate to say it, mediocre as he played in Sacramento, there's no reason why someone wouldn't be able to find use for him. Now, this part is being shot July 27, 2026. And, changed while I'm shooting this, but at this moment, he's still a free agent with no interest. You know what I'm saying? And such a good vet, a great vet. He's a great person, very intelligent businessman, just a stand-up individual, you know what I mean? But I hate to say it, he's inefficient. He is completely, I might even say useless on the basketball court. Turnover prone, can't shoot the ball, really ain't a smart point guard, can't play the two because he can't shoot the ball, can't play the one because he turned it over too much. He ain't as athletic as he was. I hate to say it, even playing for Sacramento, I feel like was one of those like, well, damn, nobody want me, you know what I'm saying? Let me just sign here. He should be on a contender. He's contributing to a contender. And in my opinion, he's not even good enough for the feeder teams, I hate it had to be him, to be honest. He's such a stand-up individual, but, I think that he's got a lot of years left. I don't see any signs of rust as it relates to him playing. I'm pretty sure he played 82% of the games for Sacramento, if not all of them. But you got to find a way to become more efficient, to look like a tactician on the basketball court, He's turning the ball over. You can't really count on him in the crucial moments. Quite honest, the last few times I've seen him play in the crucial moments, he's had very bad turnovers. Very crucial. He's played negatively in the most important minutes of the game. And he's such a real nigga that it's like, you can't really say nothing to him. You know, because 100 miles per hour straight to the basket. But I mean, cut it in today's NBA. Gonna cut it. So I do hope he gets his just due. I hope like Miami gives him a chance, because at this moment, as it's built, it's missing a lot of pieces. I think Westbrook, even at everything that I've just said, I still think that he would be a great point guard off the bench, solid 18 to 20 minutes a game, no more, no less, no minutes. You know what I mean? I said, but he would not play any of my crucial minutes, and he would have free reign in all of the rest of the minutes. Be everything that you are. You don't got to change a lick, but as far as those crucial minutes go, no. Frankly, he have to develop his jump shot, and he's gonna have to become more of a consistent defender. I saw a lot of plays this where it was like, he didn't really try on defense. I don't know if it was because he signed the minimum, the minimum. I got this theory in my head that when players sign a veteran minimum, they play like veteran minimum players sometimes. When they coming down to it. When you're a guy that used to get max deal after max deal, and then now you in this space of your career where you signing veteran minimums and you believe you're still a mid-level or higher type player, you kind of get contract, when in all actuality, my boy, you need to play up your value, even if that's what you getting. I think even when playing, that would have been a great opportunity to show, even though he still did, but I do believe he could have maximized that situation a little better. But it's a very mediocre organization, no direction, over the place. So I get it. It's hard to show any level of consistency in that type of organization or in that type of situation. But nonetheless, what happens with Miami? I think Miami will be a good place for him to land. Miami, man, it's crazy because I'm just like, you gonna go, be a committed, solid vet. You know what I mean? Where else? Dallas, a lot of places, man. A lot of places that's playing competitive quality basketball that I could see him going. But, as long as it's a veteran minimum deal, what's the worst that could happen, help the guard that they got there now, that'll be a good deal for him. But, how that plays out. Transitioning, the topic is, about some of the major free agents that's still in the market, going to speak highly of these specifically the first two, mainly because I see how the NBA trying to do them. The NBA is trying to do niggas confident in they self, confident in what they bring to a team, just confident. And these two individuals, I'm going to start with Cam Thomas, what it is, wish, in them NBA circles where I could know, like, what is it about, bro, that makes him so unpayable? It's niggas worse than him getting paid more than him for longer tenures. So I just think to myself, I'm like, I haven't heard the locker room cancer. All I've really heard about him is that, emotional, even kill. When he's hot, when he's killing, he's doing all that smiling. He ain't too friendly, but go out there and get you 20 and get you 20 points quickly. Or what contender, or just, trying to make some shape doesn't see value in that. In my personal opinion, I don't know how that's not valuable in today's NBA. I'm going to continue to big Cam Thomas up until he gets his just due, because if Quentin Grimes can sign in LA, why can't Cam Thomas sign where he's supposed to play? Somebody give him an opportunity, a lot of upside, way more upside than downside. You need scoring in today's NBA. Very, intensity across the NBA board has risen. So able to find a guy that you could just, go get in there. Give me 8 real quick. Give me 12 real quick. 13, 14, give me something real quick. It's been stagnant, no offense, no type of offensively. I need you to get in there and go get me some. I don't know what coach in their right mind doesn't see value in that, but I'm going to continue to salute you, man. I do think that you will definitely get your opportunity, man, and I wish you the best. I'm getting that jersey wherever you sign to next, man. But my player we're going to talk about is Jonathan, waiting for him to break that Golden State stench off of him. All right, look here. Just his claim, okay? A lot of disdain. Okay, I'm gonna put my TI hat with that one. I developed a lot of disdain for the Warriors back in them Cleveland days. Okay, when they were playing Cleveland for 10 years straight, it felt like it was Cleveland and the Warriors in the finals. It was either Cleveland or the Warriors in the finals. I mean, and I just developed so much of a level of hatred for that whole organization. Okay, so wanted to preface what I'm finna say about him and Steve Kerr with that, because I just don't like where that organization has went since they stopped being a consistent contender of an organization. Like all of the young pieces that they've had in that organization, they don't nurture. Going from Eric Pascal to Jordan Poole. Goddamn Jordan Poole. That was a crazy situation. Jonathan, really goes on, man. I like what they're doing with Pod right now, but jury's still out on that one. Once he asks for his bread, I want to see what happened, because I think that organization, I don't really see an organization that wants to fan the confidence flame of anybody that ain't Steph Curry. I have not seen it. I just don't see it. And anybody that has naturally had that confidence, Jordan Poole, Stephen Kaminga, I might even say Eric Pascal, they don't play well for him. It's like they are intentionally. I'm gonna stick this on Kerr. I think Steve Kerr intentionally hates a guy that his head is just too big. He thinks too highly of himself. He's nothing like Curry, and he's thinking too highly of himself next to the guy that deserves to think highly of themselves in Steph Curry. What happened with Jonathan Kuminga was, oh my goodness, and the fact that they extended Steve Kerr's contract. All right, I don't want no man to lose their job, but for sure, coaches have been fired. Coaches have been fired for doing far less positives to a team than what Steve Kerr did. And I get it. He is a Hall of Fame coach. Nobody's taking that from him. He is very intelligent. He came from the San Antonio tree. I get it that he's connected in the NBA, but it's obvious they need to move on from their coach. It is obvious that the Warriors need to move on from their coach, and they could have kept Kuminga. I bet Kaminga would have been, if you would have been at least keeping that situation positive, when you trade for Jimmy Butler and he goes down with an injury like that, that between player and coach is salvageable. For the right time, for now, for him to be in a moment where it's like, okay, well, good look, man, I need you now. Your time has come, and ready to see that moment, because the between you and that coach is still positive. That believes in you. But I just feel like Steve Kerr tried to hinder him at every turn. Showed no level of care about his growth, showed no level of care about his confidence in himself, showed no level of care in his development as a basketball player. Steph Curry needed people with that type of gall. He needed players who believe they nuts touch the flow. When I'm on with Steph Curry, I believe I should get touches too. Defenses would harass Steph Curry. Draymond ain't nothing offensively. You're not getting anything from him. Klay Thompson is gone. There is no Jordan Poole. Jimmy Butler is injured. You need somebody to step up and be confident in their game and actually put the ball in their hands to deliver. To Kaminga, man, he's a player that I'm looking forward to getting his just due as it relates to where he signs to next. Okay? I'm forward to it, man, because guys gotta stay in the NBA. These guys earned it. There has been built. Jonathan Kaminga specifically, he's went through his. I don't know where this notion comes from that him asking for at least 25 mil or in between 20 to 25 mil is too much given his resume. I'm not saying that he should get this for no reason. He's got the resume of somebody deserving of a 20 to 25 million a year guaranteed contract. Let's not forget what he just did in the playoffs for the Hawks. He's been very, very much positive as it relates to his performance. So at the end of the day, post what you believe, Kaminga and Cam Thomas. I believe in y'all, man, and I think y'all are gonna get y'all's just due. My next topic, we're gonna about this Jalen Duren situation quickly. I feel for my boy, I feel my boy because he is one player that I think, with his performance, in contrast to Kaminga, he kind of fucked his value up a little bit. Kind of shaky. He was shaky this past. He was throughout the year. Funny how, to found like a dude kind of similar to Ben Wallace, me, that I don't know, man. I think he has to respect the fact that he left too much to be wanted as it relates to him getting a max rookie extension. I still think he needs to get his bag, but I don't know if I'm believing in that. Be very, 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 very hard to if he doesn't play up to, but he's done more positive than negatives. He's played better than he hasn't, and frankly, you pair next to Cade Cunningham. You need a center like that going into your future. And I think this is another situation where an organization just has to kind of believe, put the money where your mouth is and just, pray for this. You know what I mean? But, this right now is kind of, it's kind of a little bit, but I think Jalen is, I think he's deserving of his bag too. So, on a little bit, right now, I'm things of them going into this new year. Fred, man, I saw him on a podcast, I think, talking to Malika Andrews, and he getting ahead of schedule, fiending to get back on the court, which is the stuff I like to hear. We definitely need presence. Signings that we made this offseason too, getting Marcus Smart, Bogdanovich, good veteran leadership that you'll have. We did getting Dorian Finney-Smith I really didn't like, but I get it. Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm gonna miss him. But Marcus Smart, Bogdanovich, you brought a level of consistency as it relates to offensive potential. Dorian, he was a good 3-and-D guy, but he didn't really shoot the ball too well last year. I'm pretty sure he was injured a little bit too. Marcus Smart had the injury bug later into his career as of late, but I think based off of his performance with the Lakers, it's the risk. Bogdanovich, shooter, which you need, and he's not going to command too much of an offensive presence. He's still somebody who still got to be honest to defensively, but he touches don't take away from the touches that I think KD and Fred VanVleet is going to get. I think he fits well with the nucleus and the direction that we're going. The big guy that I'm hoping makes a crazy leap this year is Jabari Smith. I need you to make a leap this year, man. I really, his status, KD and Burner situation wasn't really positive. I'm gonna be honest. I find out my teammate talking shit behind the account on Twitter. I'm gonna know you don't really fuck with me, but I'm gonna turn up because of that. And Jabari got to take that disrespect into his grind this offseason and really just turn the fuck up, and that could be a positive of KD about him like that. I wish he would have addressed it like a man, but maybe they talked about it in their room and, but if you disrespect me publicly, I'm going to need you to, I ain't going to say apologize, but I'm going to need you to make up publicly, because you my image, you see it's KD talking about I'm a bonehead and I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, bro, like, my nigga, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, come on. We're not doing that. And that's kind of like chatty, man, just a little bit. Like, it's real. Say this about this situation. That also gave me a good deep dive into KD's personality. You know what I'm saying? If it's true, right? Allegedly. If it's true, that's kind of shit. I'm going to be honest with you. That's kind of whole shit, But the day is KD. I guess we got to give, the pass, right? We got to selectively politic when it comes to, these mad guys, whatever. But, I'm expecting to make a big leap, and I'm expecting KD to be who he is. Trustworthy. I'm not put too much of how last season ended on him because KD was, he was the most dependable guy last year. I think I just expect him to be, pushed in a positive direction as it relates to off the court behaviors. With that, Burner, I know if he can even look in the mirror and be honest, you ain't necessarily be Udonis type of vet with your niggas, you know what I'm saying? Look, don't try to fuck with their confidence. Whatever you should do, whatever you are doing should be bolstering their confidence. You know what I mean? And remember his words. Played if the Burner would have came out and he was saying some shit like, man, I would fuck with Jabari. Bro, he got so much potential, bro. I just know he gonna be that next nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? In whatever hypothetical world, that's what he said. You make a completely different type of Jabari. And Jabari ain't bad, you know. Jabari bad in my opinion. A lot of stuff for bro, man. I think he could. I think he'll be one of the difference maker pieces for us this offseason. This going into this next season, if he can really take that, because he's already defensively gifted. Niggas ain't fucking with him on defense. You know, you count him too easy. He not light. He's starting to come into his own. His natural defensive attributes. He's starting to really know how to control and keep his player in front of him. He just got to make that offensively. All of them gifts, man, I think he should definitely be like, you know, bro, they're Minnesota, you know, that's his partner. It's Jaden McDaniels, you know. Yeah, he expect his offensive input to the team to be similar. He doesn't have to be the type of player Jalen McDaniels is, but I do expect his offensive input to the team to be that, like, you got Anthony Edwards and you got to check McDaniels. And you low-key got to worry about Gobert. Now you got to worry about LaMelo. Like, pick your way from the double team is what you're not going to do. So Jaden McDaniels is, Jabari makes sure that his impact keeps his defender honest and he punishes his defender. You know, because there's a lot of people that's walking around like him attribute-wise. I'm pretty sure, I think he's like 6, I think he grew a couple inches. I think he's like 6'9", 6'10", you know, crazy wingspan, you know, you got to use with that. You got to abuse people with that, man. So, looking forward to his leave, you know. I think Rockets got a good opportunity this year. You know, we do too much. I'm glad we didn't get rid of Fred. I'm glad we didn't go and get somebody else that would hinder Reed Shepherd's growth. He did great this offseason, this past year. I like his upside. He just also has to become, I think he'll learn this too, being next to Marcus Smart. He's got to really be a defensive dog, you know, without just trying to be a defensive dog. It just has to be natural. And I really hope him being next to Marcus Smart, he kind of picks up some of those defensive tendencies that can create and keep defenders, keep his player honest. Because he's not, you know what I mean? He's not going to impose his will on anybody with this. So you need to be extremely intelligent. You know, he had a few bonehead plays in that last playoff series, but it's cool, you know. Players, you know what I'm saying? Players look up. But I really hope he looks at a lot of film this offseason, puts on some weight, continues to get that clip even higher. If he can get close to 40%, good. You know, if he starts shooting that three ball at a 38, 37% clip, cool. And just to be an honest defender. I know you ain't finna be no spectacular defender. You ain't gonna be Marcus Smart. Just be an honest defender. You know, they're gonna be able to do what they need to this year. We touch on the Lakers. You know, Lakers. I really like them signing Quinn Grimes. Big fan of Quinn Grimes. You know, he was a free agent that kind of better. Honestly, I think he took the qualifying offer though. I think he took the deal and then I think it was like a 1+1 and he signed for a decent deal with LA. But neither here nor there. I like the new look Lakers. Contrary to what Stephen A said, I do believe an all-white cast can put it on your ass. All right, I do just believe that. Like Luka, just any white, you know what I'm saying? Austin Reeves ain't just any white boy. Walker Kessler, you know, ain't just any center. You know, got a very high ceiling. Luka's gonna be Luka. Austin's gonna be Austin. I think the determining factor for them is obviously their defense. As gifted as they are offensively, Luka and Austin, they are chicken on defense. Okay, I know salivate when they see Luka holding them or when they see Austin holding them, and that's no fault of their own. But you know, boy, I think he got bad feet. I don't think he can really. He don't move his hips. I don't know what it is, but you just don't see an honest defender when I look at Austin. I'm not trying to clown him, but he got to give you 40. Because he might give up 35 on the other end, you know, so he give you 40. But the thing is that he's going to give you an efficient 40. Luka's going to give you an efficient 60, 50, 60. He's going to give you, you know, at one point last season when he was healthy, Luka was averaging damn near 40 points a game for a good little 11 to 13. So this is what they're capable of. I respect it. But ain't many defenders out there. You know, I time Matisse Thybulle, you know. Got Vando over there. I love Vando. Hopefully that pinky well. I hate they lost Jackson Hayes, but at the end of the day, they're gonna need that defensive presence. And I'm hoping they're one of those teams that by the loss of LeBron, they just play better because of that. Because I get the amount of offensive focus that goes into building a team around LeBron's preference. You know, that's to LeBron, even though I know it is. It's really not a slight to LeBron, but it takes a lot to play with LeBron. You know, like how LeBron signed a, minimum Billy, and why he couldn't just do that with the Lakers, because the Lakers wasn't really trying to appease that nigga. They was not trying to appease him in the offense anymore. I think if he would have stayed in LA, he'd be coming off the bench. You gonna minimum man, you gotta come off the bench, because look, you taking up too much basketball bandwidth with Luka and Austin. We really trust them to do the offensive work, but we know you're LeBron. So it's like we kind of have to have a portion of that offensive load that inherently takes away from them. Unintentionally takes from them, I'm sorry. So, Lakers to still be top 6, and we'll see how it goes. But, now to the I'm here with my boy, because quite frankly, he's signing in Philly. I'm really happy he's signing in Philly. I feel like Michael Jordan set the bar so high with them 6 rings, and obviously you want to get more if you're the greatest of all time. I really think he gonna get plenty more. I think LeBron got a good opportunity to get, at least if he lessens his player usage, right? Because he's gonna have to play with 5 locomotives, 4 plus they bench players. He could probably play for another 3 to 5 years, just doing 15 and 10 type numbers, and he's gonna get 3 rings. I think he could get more than Jordan. I think he could conclude this game with at least 7 rings. I really believe that he's in the right situation. If they can keep it together, I think he could get those. I think this is something similar to like when he's in Miami, and they did that first year, but he's learned from why they didn't get it that first year, and able to kind of like use team's benefit, right? Because Tyrese probably ain't been in a situation like this. Jalen Brown probably ain't been in a situation like this. Embiid probably ain't been in a situation like this. VJ knew to all of this. He's got so much experience that he could utilize to the team's benefit, and they could capitalize on that to win in the first year. And then it's like, oh, now we got it. Now they could win 2, 3. And I really believe that, LeBron, the greatest of all time, based off of this signing with Philly. It's a match made in heaven. He's not crippling them financially. He's got all of the experience. Who better to be your 3rd or 4th option or 5th option? Who better? If you just want to make him a facilitator, he could run the 1. Endless. Like, I am to see what Philly does this upcoming season, man. I just pray they could be healthy. I'm praying to the basketball guys, please let this team be healthy. If we can find a way to make LeBron and Joel's workload less while still maximizing their natural talents. Nick Nurse, I know he got his work set out for him, because you still got to account for Tyrese and his numbers. You still groom and grow VJ. And let's not forget about that $300 million man in Jalen Brown. All right? Boston, because of the situation, wasn't really, right for him. I know he wanted, everybody loves LeBron, but ain't nobody really trying to sacrifice too much of what makes them as players play with LeBron. And in order for this to work, I do see all of them making a big sacrifice, whether it be points, touches, voice, just general impact, but if it yields you rings, and I mean rings, it might be, man. So we're going to go ahead and conclude there, But another, I really appreciate you people, sitting in, watching. Please like, please subscribe. We're going to try to make every video a little better. And yeah, man, y'all stay safe.